Hello, welcome to Module 5. Yay! But before we get to Module 5, let's do a special reminder. If you go to Discussions and you go to the bottom of the discussion list, you get to Section 1-3. Remember that you need to post 5 different resources over the course of this semester, which will be graded in Module 10. All right, so some of you have already started doing this. You don't have to do one for every single module, but you need 5 overall. As a friendly reminder, I do have MLA videos that show you step-by-step on how to do MLA formatting. This is important because a few of you have recently decided to kind of do your own formatting. MLA formatting is super important simply because it helps us figure out if we're actually meeting our page length, and plus it also demonstrates that you can follow directions, which is very important. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and go to Module 5. All right, so what are we going to be doing? Well, actually, I really like this module quite a bit. We're going to do a fun little activity. I think this is a lot of fun. Do a piece of writing from the lens of a coach, and then we get to do a project, which I'll talk about, dealing with our specialties, and then we'll do some more research. I mean, not research, but some more resources. All right, so basically, coaching and mentoring, there is a difference between the two. Sometimes people kind of, do those things. For this module, we're focusing more on coaching, whereas in mentoring will be covered more in Module 6. So just be aware that is a thing. So go ahead and read through this to kind of get an understanding on that. All right, the module at a glance. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this page because we're going to be going through it in the next little part here. All right, so here's our reading and resources. So this is some people have never heard of a book coach, or writing coaches. So these are some great articles that kind of give you insight on those two possibilities if you've never heard about those. So make sure you go through that. Anyway, there is that. Alrighty. So before we get started, there will be an additional resource I will post on announcement. Again, these are just ways that I add stuff that's not already included with these courses. It's going to get some real life examples and give you some insight, so make sure you look for that. Hopefully, I try to make those entertaining and relatable, and recognize that what we're learning in this class actually has real life applications. All right, and then there is this non-graded fun little scenario. This is actually won't take very long. Just click on this little button right here that says scenario, and it gets over here, and you just kind of walk through this. It's take you all of 5 minutes, but it kind of practices this idea of coaching, so make sure you do that. All right, let's get right to the first other deliverable that you're going to get graded on. Okay, so this is the cover letter promotional material. Wait a minute, what happened to the other one? We're missing 5.3. Well, I'm going to get out of viewing as a student, and I'm going to get there as an instructor, because 5.3 is important. Okay, it's a discussion board. Okay, maybe because I was in student mode and it's not available yet. Okay, so here's the scenario. Okay, so this is the fun one. Okay, you're going to post this as a discussion. All right, so again, a little role play here. For 6 months, you've been helping a client, Emily, work through her first draft. Okay, it's a psychological thriller, and it's told from the killer's perspective. For the first, basically 34 chapters, it's been in the protagonist's deep third-person point of view. We're 60,000 words in. Okay, fantastic. Emily delivers you chapter 35, and she's introduced a new character, a soon-to-be victim, and writes the chapter in that character's first-person point of view. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so what, as a coach, are you going to do as far as feedback? Well, here's what you're going to do for this assignment. You're going to compose an email of 150 to 200 words to Emily. Okay, you're going to address this to Emily and give advice. Okay, now again, this is just a conceptual conversation, so you have to make assumptions on your relationship with Emily and use the approach that you've talked about on how you're going to deal with clients and how you give feedback and whatever. So you're actually going to practice that. Okay, so you're going to post this as a thread. Post as a thread your email to Emily on your recommendations based on this information up here. Okay, then after you have posted, you are going to then respond to 2 of your classmates' posts as if you were Emily. Okay, and again, you can create the character of Emily any way you want. Maybe just for giggles, if you got this feedback, how would you personally respond to this feedback that you got, okay? Maybe use yourself as an example of the type of feedback that was given, and is that the way you would like it, okay? And then you can respond to your peers' responses, okay? So this is actually kind of fun. So make sure you kind of get this done earlier on so people have a chance to respond. But it gives you a chance to do a real life practice thing. All right, so that's 5.3. All right, now let's go over to 5.4. Okay, and I got to switch back to student view because this one doesn't show what it's supposed to do. Learn modules. All right, okay. All right. Okay, so this one, now, some students that I'm going to taught this class previously are kind of like, yeah, this isn't quite what I had in mind. Okay, but it doesn't really matter that, well, it does matter what you thought and whatever, but this is a little different because we're actually going to practice as if we were an editor of some kind. And you get to create a cover letter or some sort of promotional material. Okay, well, let's actually take a look at how this is focused on. Okay, so basically, if you do any kind of work outside where you're going to be, if you're going to be charging clients, someone comes to you and they say, hey, how much would you charge to read my book? Whatever. Okay, the idea here is that you're going to create a cover letter or some sort of promotional material, like a flyer or a PowerPoint or brochure or something that basically explains, what you do and kind of why you do it. So it says, okay, what are the points that we have to cover here? Well, your pedagogical philosophy. Well, pedagogical, that's just a big fancy word. Don't use that in your promotional activity. Okay, it's to say, hey, your philosophy when it comes to coaching. Okay, or when you give feedback or when you're going to do revision. Okay, pedagogical, that's just a big fancy word that can confuse people. That basically is pedagogy is the art of teaching or whatever. Okay, but it's the way you approach, using, your potential clients. And then focus of your specialty. This is be real, be honest with yourself. As I've read through some of your other assignments, some of you are interested in doing line editing. Some of you would rather chew tinfoil than do line editing. Some of you would rather do like overall kind of holistic, feedback. Okay, make sure you focus on your specialty. And when you promote it, okay, don't say, I don't like doing line editing. No, play on your strengths. Focus, say, this is my focus is, this is what I focus on, or these are my specialties, without saying the things you don't do. Okay, so focus on that. And then establish your credibility by including some credentials. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't have any credentials. I've never edited for anyone or whatever. Well, actually, you do have some credentials. You are all grad students in an MFA program. So, you could use that as a credential. As a graduate student in a creative writing program, I have learned these certain tools, whatever. So you can have these credentials. So you're going to create basically this cover letter or promotional material that you're going to use, that you would then provide. Now, keep in mind that this assignment you're going to use, kind of like we did with Module 3 and 4, you're going to then, once you create this, you're going to use this, and your classmates are going to do peer reviews on this in Module 6, and this is one of your elements which is going to be included in the final, which is Module 9. So it's just a thing. So it's fairly open as long as you hit these particular approaches. Again, you don't necessarily have to use the word pedagogical, but make sure you just kind of like your approach on how you like to, how you work with somebody, the focus and specialty of the types of editing you do or feedback that you give, and your credentials. As long as you do that, you're going to be fine. All right, so that is 5-4. And then, oops, I clicked the wrong button because you know what? That's what I do. So let's go back to 5-4. That's good. And then last but not least, again, is the reminder that you're supposed to share those things, which I showed at the beginning, which is you post in course menu, discussions, and 1-3. So make sure you do that. Again, you have to have a total of 5 sources that you've used over the course of the semester, which will be graded in Module 10. Okay, so that's it for Module 5. Have some fun doing this, and you'll be in good shape. All right, go do it.